I see you. I see the filmmakers scraping together whatever money they can just to get their next project off the ground. I see writers burning through draft after draft, hoping that this will be the one. I see actors auditioning for projects they probably won't book, but are doing it anyway because what if? I see you because I've been you. I'm Jay Horton. I make movies that make money. This is how. This isn't a success story or a rags to riches one. Not really, not yet. Because being an indie filmmaker is hard. Harder than most people will ever understand. For years, I was barely scraping by, living gig to gig sometimes, working a minimum wage day job a lot of the time just to pay bills while spending every free second making movies. It took me over a decade of grinding and doing so many films before I was making a living, and I just kept pumping them out, hoping for a bigger break, usually only making, a few grand here and there. I'd watch other filmmakers I knew just give up, get real jobs, and move on. And I get it, because this industry doesn't make room for you. You have to fight for your space, and it's exhausting. And it can be straight up soul-crushing. And it'll break you if you let it. But you can get to a point where you're making a living off this. And I get asked or see folks asking others all the time, what's the secret? How did you start making real money from indie film? I really wish there was some kind of magical, black and white answer, some insider hack that would just make it easier. But I don't, because it doesn't exist. The truth is, I'm not special. I'm not more talented than you. I didn't get lucky, not really. I just kept going. I made a ton of mistakes. I made bad deals. I wasted time on projects or collaborations that didn't work out. But through it all, I just never stopped. I kept making movies. I kept learning. I kept figuring out what works and what doesn't, and I adapted. And honestly, that's the only real difference between people who make it and people who don't. The ones who make it don't stop. They take the punches, they fall, they fail, they get back up. So if you're struggling right now and you're questioning if you should even keep going, let me tell you something. You are not alone. I would bet dollars to donuts every single filmmaker, famous filmmaker that you admire has felt what you're feeling. At least the non-sociopathic ones. The doubt. The exhaustion, the frustration of pouring your soul into something and feeling like nobody cares. But here's the thing. If you love this, if you love making movies, if this is what you have to do, then you do it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right budget, the right opportunity. Make the thing. Learn from it. Make another thing. Get better. Keep going. Because the only way that you truly fail in the film business is if you don't make movies. But let's talk some reality here. Most indie filmmakers give up early because they're expecting results too fast. They think one short film, one feature, one festival win is going to launch them into success. But let me tell you something, it most likely won't. And don't let those few lottery winning, famous filmmakers cloud your judgment. Most film careers are not a result of one big first hit. Most film careers are a culmination of work, and it can be a slog to build that up. This industry can be brutal, and even when you're in, you're never really in. You can still be clawing for every opportunity, still hustling for the next project. I've produced close to 100 features at this point, and I still feel a little bit like it's back to the drawing board with each new one. Think of it like a long game. You're not just making one film. You're building a career, a catalog, a brand. Every project should be a stepping stone to the next, and that takes time. Years, it can. Sometimes decades. So a lot of people will say, I just can't do it because I don't have the money. It takes a lot of money. And a lot of people think money is the biggest obstacle. If I just had a bigger budget, I could make something great. And sure, money helps, but it's not the deciding factor. I have seen filmmakers blow 6 figures or plus on films that go nowhere because they didn't understand marketing, distribution, or audience targeting. I've also seen people make micro-budget films that blew up because they knew exactly how to position them. So, you know what matters more than money? Strategy, understanding the marketplace, knowing how to position your film so it actually reaches people. And that's something most indie filmmakers just don't get. And look, I get it. You don't want to be a marketer. You just want to make your great movie. But if you want to survive in this business, you also have to make something sellable. That doesn't mean selling out. It just means knowing your audience, knowing what they want, and delivering it in a way that makes them want to watch it and tell others about it. Which brings me to another hard truth. No one is coming to save you. No producer, no studio, no magical investor is going to swoop in and make your dreams come true. You have to take the reins and do that yourself, which means you have to stop waiting for permission and start creating your own opportunities. I didn't come from money. I was raised by a single mother, very low income, raised in a trailer park. I didn't have anything, no connections. I made my first movie. I saved up money working at a Starbucks while working my way through college for almost a year. Put it on credit cards, made the movie. You can do it. Build your audience, learn how to market, make movies that you can actually get in front of people, not just the ones that win festivals and disappear afterwards. And most importantly, keep doing it. Your first movie won't be your best. Your 10th might not either. But if you keep going, if you keep learning, if you keep refining your craft, you can get there. Look, this industry can be isolating. It's hard. It's full of rejection. It'll make you question yourself 100 times over. And it's easy to feel like no one else gets it. But, and I really mean this, I do. And so do thousands of other indie filmmakers grinding away out there, just like you. So if you take nothing else from this video, take this. You are not alone, and you don't have to do this alone. Build your network, find your tribe, support other filmmakers, because at the end of the day, the people who last in this business are the ones who lift each other up. I know how hard this can be, but I also know that if you keep pushing and you keep grinding and keep learning, you can find your way. The hard truth about being an indie filmmaker is it never gets easier, but it does get worth it. Whatever you do, keep making movies.